Bernard Lawrence Madoff, born in 1938, seemed destined for a life far removed from the gritty world of high finance. His early years were spent in the bustling streets of New York, a city that would later become the epicenter of his financial empire. Raised in a middle-class Jewish family in Queens, New York, his early life offered little hint of the future that awaited him. His parents, Ralph and Sylvia Madoff, instilled in him the values of hard work and perseverance, traits that would serve him well in his later endeavors. He attended Hofstra University, a local college, and married his high school sweetheart, Ruth Alpern. Their union was a partnership that would endure through the highs and lows of his career. Ruth's unwavering support played a crucial role in Madoff's rise to prominence. To support his young family while attending Brooklyn Law School, Madoff took odd jobs, including installing sprinklers and lifeguarding. These humble beginnings were a far cry from the opulent lifestyle he would later lead, but they taught him the value of hard work and determination. It was in this unlikely setting that Madoff's entrepreneurial spirit began to emerge. He was not content with the traditional path and sought to carve out his own niche in the world of finance. His ambition and drive were evident even in these early years. He used $5,000 in savings earned from his summer work and supplemented by a loan from his father-in-law to launch his own investment firm in 1960. This initial investment was a gamble, but Madoff was confident in his vision and abilities. From these humble beginnings, Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities was born, a firm that would eventually rise to dizzying heights, becoming one of the most respected and sought-after investment firms on Wall Street. Madoff's keen understanding of the market and his innovative strategies set him apart from his peers. Madoff's early success stemmed from his pioneering use of technology. He recognized the potential of computers in trading long before many of his contemporaries, giving him a significant edge in the increasingly fast-paced world of finance. He was among the first to adopt computers for trading, giving him an edge in the increasingly fast-paced world of finance. This forward-thinking approach allowed him to execute trades with unprecedented speed and accuracy, attracting a growing number of clients. This forward-thinking approach, coupled with his charisma and air of quiet confidence, quickly attracted a loyal clientele. Madoff's ability to build strong relationships with his clients was a key factor in his firm's success. As his firm prospered, Madoff's reputation as a financial wizard grew. He was seen as a visionary, someone who could navigate the complexities of the financial markets with ease. His success story became an inspiration for many aspiring financiers. He cultivated an image of exclusivity, carefully selecting his clients and fostering an aura of mystique around his investment strategies. This sense of exclusivity only added to his allure, making his services even more desirable. He became a prominent figure on Wall Street, serving as chairman of the Nasdaq stock market in the early 1990s and earning a reputation as an elder statesman of the financial world. His influence extended beyond his firm, shaping the broader financial landscape. Behind the facade of success and respectability, however, lay a dark secret. Unbeknownst to his investors, Madoff's entire operation was an elaborate sham, a classic Ponzi scheme built on a foundation of lies and deceit. A Ponzi scheme, named after Charles Ponzi, who gained notoriety in the 1920s for his fraudulent investment operations, is a type of investment fraud that lures investors and pays profits to earlier investors with funds from later investors. Madoff's scheme was deceptively simple in its design. He promised his clients steady, above-market returns regardless of market conditions. These consistent returns, far too good to be true, were a powerful lure for investors seeking to grow their wealth. Instead of investing the funds entrusted to him, Madoff deposited the money into a single bank account, using new investments to pay off older ones and fund his lavish lifestyle. The illusion of success was maintained through fabricated account statements and trading confirmations. Madoff's firm never actually bought or sold any securities. Instead, they created a complex web of fictitious trades and transactions, designed to create the illusion of a legitimate investment operation. This charade, fueled by a constant influx of new money, allowed Madoff to perpetuate his fraud for decades, all the while amassing a personal fortune estimated at over $600 million. Madoff's air of exclusivity was carefully cultivated, adding to the allure of his scheme. He meticulously crafted an image of success and sophistication, which was instrumental in attracting a very specific type of investor. This wasn't just about making money. It was about being part of an elite club, a circle of trust and privilege that promised not just financial returns, but social elevation. He targeted a specific type of investor: wealthy individuals, charitable foundations, and hedge funds, seeking above-average returns. These were people and organizations that were already successful, already affluent, but looking for that extra edge, that additional layer of financial security and prestige. Madoff's promise of consistent high returns was irresistible to them. He moved in elite circles, frequenting exclusive golf clubs, owning luxurious homes in Manhattan, Palm Beach, and the French Riviera, and donating generously to charities. These activities were not just for show. They were strategic moves to embed himself deeper into the fabric of high society. By being seen in these places, he reinforced his image as a man of wealth and taste, someone who was not just a financial advisor, but a peer. This carefully crafted image lent an aura of legitimacy to Madoff's operation. It made it easier for potential investors to believe in the authenticity of his returns. After all, how could someone so deeply entrenched in the upper echelons of society be anything but legitimate? His confidence and demeanor were convincing, making it hard for anyone to suspect foul play. His clients, many of whom had invested with him for years, trusted him implicitly. They had seen their investments grow steadily, and this track record of success only deepened their trust. For many, Madoff was more than just a financial advisor. He was a cornerstone of their financial strategy, someone whose advice and guidance they relied on without question. They saw him not just as a financial advisor but as a friend, a confidant, and a gatekeeper to a world of wealth and privilege. This personal connection made it even harder for them to question his methods or doubt his integrity. In their eyes, Madoff was a trusted ally, someone who had their best interests at heart. This close-knit network, bound by shared social circles and financial interests, further insulated Madoff from scrutiny. The social bonds and mutual trust within this elite group created an environment where skepticism was rare. People were more likely to believe in Madoff's success because they saw others they respected doing the same. Word of mouth played a significant role in attracting new investors to Madoff's firm. The recommendations came from trusted sources, making them incredibly powerful. When a friend or colleague vouched for Madoff, it carried more weight than any advertisement or marketing campaign ever could. Existing clients, eager to share in the seemingly effortless profits, often referred friends, family, and colleagues. This created a network effect, where each new investor brought in more potential clients. The allure of easy money and the endorsement of trusted individuals made it easy for Madoff to expand his client base rapidly. This created a self-perpetuating cycle, with new investors blinded by the testimonials of those they trusted. The more people invested, the more credible Madoff's operation seemed. It was a classic case of social proof, where the actions of others validated the decision to invest. Madoff's social connections extended to the highest levels of government and regulatory bodies. He was not just a figure in the financial world but also a well-known personality in political circles. This gave him an additional layer of protection, as his high-profile connections made it less likely for people to question his activities. He had cultivated relationships with influential figures in Washington, using his wealth and influence to gain access to policymakers and regulators. These relationships were not just for show, they provided him with valuable insights and a sense of security. Knowing the right people in the right places gave Madoff an edge, making it easier for him to navigate the complexities of the financial world. This access, while never proven to have directly impeded investigations into his activities, contributed to an environment where Madoff operated with a sense of impunity. He felt untouchable, confident that his carefully constructed web of relationships and his impeccable public image would shield him from scrutiny. This sense of invincibility was a crucial element in the longevity of his scheme. Despite the carefully constructed facade, there were red flags along the way, warning signs that Madoff's success was built on a foundation of sand. These red flags were not just minor anomalies but glaring issues that, in retrospect, should have raised immediate and serious concerns among investors and regulators alike. The financial world, however, was largely captivated by the allure of Madoff's seemingly magical returns, and this enchantment blinded many to the underlying reality. Some financial analysts questioned how Madoff could consistently outperform the market, especially during periods of volatility. In a market known for its unpredictability, Madoff's steady returns seemed almost too good to be true. These analysts, trained to spot irregularities, found it perplexing that Madoff's investment strategy could yield such consistent profits without fail. They wondered what secret formula he had discovered that eluded even the most seasoned market veterans. Others found his trading volume suspiciously low given the purported size of his portfolio. For someone managing billions of dollars, the trading activity should have been significantly higher. This discrepancy suggested that the trades Madoff claimed to be making were either not happening at the scale he reported, or were entirely fabricated. The low trading volume was a critical red flag that indicated something was amiss. These whispers of doubt, however, were largely ignored or dismissed. In the high-stakes world of finance, skepticism often takes a back seat to the promise of high returns. Many investors, driven by the fear of missing out, chose to overlook these warning signs. They trusted Madoff's reputation and the endorsements of other high-profile investors, believing that such a well-regarded figure could not possibly be involved in anything untoward. Madoff's reputation as a Wall Street legend, coupled with the aura of exclusivity surrounding his firm, shielded him from serious scrutiny. His firm was seen as an elite club, accessible only to a select few. This exclusivity created a sense of prestige and trust among his clients, who felt privileged to be part of his inner circle. The combination of his storied career and the allure of exclusivity made it difficult for anyone to question his methods or integrity. Investors, blinded by greed and reassured by Madoff's confident demeanor, chose to believe in the myth, ignoring the warning signs that, in hindsight, seemed glaringly obvious. The promise of steady high returns was too enticing to resist. Madoff's charm and confidence further reinforced their belief that they were making a sound investment. This collective delusion allowed the Ponzi scheme to continue unchecked for years. One of the most persistent voices raising concerns was Harry Markopolos, a derivatives expert who, as early as 2000, began to suspect that Madoff's returns were too good to be true. Markopolos was not swayed by Madoff's reputation or the herd mentality of other investors. His analytical mind and deep understanding of financial markets led him to question the legitimacy of Madoff's operations. He saw patterns and inconsistencies that others missed or chose to ignore. Markopolos, working independently and later for a competing firm, spent years meticulously analyzing Madoff's returns, identifying numerous inconsistencies and red flags that pointed to a massive fraud. His investigations were thorough and detailed, leaving no stone unturned. He compiled extensive reports that highlighted the mathematical impossibilities and irregularities in Madoff's reported returns. Despite the overwhelming evidence he gathered, convincing others proved to be an uphill battle. Despite his growing certainty that Madoff was running a Ponzi scheme, Markopolos' warnings to the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, went largely unheeded. He made multiple attempts to alert the authorities, providing them with detailed analyses and evidence. However, his warnings fell on deaf ears. The SEC's failure to act on his information was a significant oversight that allowed the fraud to continue unabated. The SEC, already burdened by a heavy workload and perhaps intimidated by Madoff's stature, failed to adequately investigate Markopolos' detailed and well-researched allegations. The agency's resources were stretched thin, and Madoff's influential position in the financial world may have deterred a more rigorous investigation. This lack of action by the SEC was a critical failure that had far-reaching consequences. This failure would have catastrophic consequences. The collapse of Madoff's Ponzi scheme resulted in billions of dollars in losses, devastating countless investors. The scandal shook the financial world to its core, leading to widespread calls for regulatory reform and greater oversight. The repercussions of the SEC's inaction were felt far and wide, serving as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance and accountability in the financial industry.